Hi, Tim Blankenship here with Divorce661.com, and in this video I want to go over 5 tips that I think will help you guys have an amicable divorce, or at least give you the best opportunity for having an amicable divorce. Tip 1, discuss your divorce in advance. The last thing you want is surprises when it comes to divorce. If you want to make your case contested and each of you get attorneys, even if you're amicable, do this. Go hire an attorney, have your spouse served at work. I don't care how amicable you are, that's going to set the table for a contested case. It's just not going to start things off on the right foot. So it's going to be all about communication if you want to set the footing for an amicable divorce. Have the discussion about the divorce process, even discuss some of the terms if possible. Also, decide whether or not if you guys are amicable enough to go to a service like ours, a neutral third party, to help you with your divorce, as opposed to the need for attorneys. And some of those criteria are you guys amicable? Are you guys able to make decisions without someone at the table? Do you make decisions without having to have a judge intervene? Can you sit down and have a conversation and discuss things such as assets and debts and the kids and custody and everything that gets involved in getting a divorce? Are you guys able to communicate? Communication will be key during the divorce process, especially at the outset, to set the table for having an amicable divorce. Tip number 2, understand your rights. Understand the divorce laws and how they work. Just have a basic understanding. You can do this through Google, find everything you need about divorce. You can go to the California court's website and look at things and how things are determined, such as spouse support, child support, custody, division of assets and debts. Do a Google search for California community property laws, just so you get an understanding how things would be divided if you were to go to court, if you were going to get attorneys and fight it out. Understand the basics so you can sit down with your spouse to go over these decisions and come up with a fair agreement, and hopefully do this without going to court or the need for attorneys. Step 3, discuss the issues that need to be addressed. If you have kids, you need to talk about custody and child support. If you have assets and debts, you need to decide how you're going to divide those up. If there's a house, you have to decide, are you going to keep it? Is there going to be a buyout? Are you going to sell it, split the proceeds? What are you going to do with the proceeds? Are you going to pay off the debts? So figure out and lay out on the table everything that needs to be addressed, all the decisions you have to make. Pensions, who's keeping what vehicle, who's paying what debts, etc. Tip number 4, now it's time to discuss your finances. In tip number 2, we talked about understanding your rights and understanding how the process works and how things need to be figured out. Now it's time to address the asset and debts. You know what the basic rules are and how that's going to be addressed. Now you can sit down, print out statements of your assets and debts, look at values, look at the value of your 401k, look at the values of your bank accounts, how much debt you guys have, look at your credit cards, pull everything out, sit down at the table, and see if you guys can figure out how you're going to divvy things up. Aside from the kids and custody and visitation and child support and alimony, it really is about dividing up your assets and debts. Most of our clients are able to reach a fair agreement, and keep in mind it does not need to be 50-50. You do not need to worry about what the judge is going to say or the court's going to say about the division of your assets and debts. People make different decisions for different reasons. Some clients have a 50-50 division. Some clients have one spouse has more assets, one has more debts. Maybe that makes sense because the spouse support or child support is going to be higher or lower. Whatever you guys come up with that you agree and will sign and notarize the judgment and the settlement agreement is what the court will allow. Tip number 5 is if you have an amicable divorce and you guys have worked through issues 1 through 4 and tips 1 through 4 that I provided you and you guys can reach an agreement. Tip number 5 is you do not need an attorney. Attorneys are not required to go through the divorce process in California. You can do it completely on your own even. Most people will choose to use a service like ours to go through an amicable divorce process because we do operate as a neutral third party. We work with both spouses. Our fees are not per person. They are for the entire divorce process. So check us out on our website at Divorce661.com for our costs. And as far as our costs are concerned, we are going to save you so much time going through the process of divorce. You'll be dealing directly with me, whether that's good or bad for you, if you like me or not. We will do all the paperwork. We will do all the court filings. You do not have to come to my office. We work with all courts in California, and you will not have to make a court appearance, assuming you guys reach a full agreement on all issues.